Hi, my name is Cameron Carlson from the AnimeOnLocation.tv. I'm here at Colossal 2017 with Jason
Liebrecht.
Thank you. So, how'd you get started in the world of voice acting?
Strangely, honestly, I was at a party at a bar in Austin, Texas, and a gentleman who had seen me in some theater productions was there at the end with me, sitting at the bar, and he turned out to be a director for ADV Films. They had a little studio in Austin called Monster Island Studios. Yeah. And we were just talking, chatting like you and I are now, and at the end of the night he said, "You got a nice voice. You ever done any dub work?" And I didn't really know what he was talking about. He had to explain it to me, and turned out he wasn't so happy with one of his actors in The Get Backers. And I went in Monday morning to try it out, and happened to be pretty good at it, and I got that guy's job, and stayed with it.
I like how you... Nice one. Swoop in and get that.
I mean, I didn't know the man, but apparently he was very slow, and I ended up being kind of fast. So, time is money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Despite my lengthy answers, I actually do this quickly.
So you're well known for being the voice of Finny and Black Butler. How did you approach the role and develop the dialect for the character? Because they're all from Britain, but they all have different dialects from being Britain. So how did you get the ability to do that? I mean, he's such a soft and caring voice, but also can be mean and tough. So how'd you get that British dialect to kind of match that?
Honestly, I was already at that point in my relatively short Funimation career known for being able to do dialects. I'd done a lot of dialect in my theater work and on camera as well. Ian Sinclair was my first director on that. He's also quite good at dialects. Plays one of my fellow servants. Yep. And does it quite well, if you ask me. I don't know, it came about pretty naturally. Finny was not one of the characters I auditioned for, but Colleen, who initially produced and directed the show, was she was familiar with my work and knew I was capable of doing that higher range. And honestly, his tone was kind of dictated by what happened in the show and how he was temperamentally. And he's a nice sweetheart. He's a man who doesn't know his own strength. Which drives me crazy a little bit sometimes. Like, occasionally in the storyline, I wish he would just act out and, destroy everyone. But he doesn't, and he's a sweetheart.
So now I've met all three of you.
Indeed.
I've met you and Monica, and now you, and Ian.
And we're all pretty nice, right?
Yeah, you guys are. You're wonderful people.
We did a commentary together in character.
You know what? I have all of them, and I haven't watched it.
You should check it out. We're all in the booth. We're in a tiny little whisper room together, all in character. It was pretty weird. It's one of my favorite commentaries.
All right, I should listen. Now, you and I have talked on Twitter about you doing Vetty in Glass Fleet, a character you've admired as one of your favorites to do voices for. What really drew you to his unique characteristics and style? I mean, because there's moments where you get angry and passionate, but you're also sophisticated and smart and conniving, but also, you try to woo Colleen throughout most of the story. So it's like super complex character. So how did you get into him? And of course then you have to go against Travis.
Yeah, well, for me, he was at that point in my dub career, he was a bit of a departure from what I was normally doing. At that point I'd played a lot of young heroes and was known for doing that. I'm a tenor naturally, and honestly I'd gotten to the point where I felt like I was being typecast a bit and was only, I guess, respected for doing that sort of work. And, as an actor, I feel that I've got quite a range. And this guy, Vetty, not only was he a villain, which I found interesting, but he was, sophisticated and an aristocrat. Yeah. He played the freaking harpsichord and, waxed in villainous, evil ways while playing the harpsichord about his plans. And I don't know, just super cool. And working with Chris Sabat, who's a friend of mine, it came about pretty naturally. He respects, he's an actor's actor, an actor's director, respects your choices and respects your abilities, and that tends to lead to good results, in my experience.
I also love the fact that Brina Palencia is your lover boy throughout most of the show.
Yes, that is also quite awesome. Also a good friend of mine.
So D.Gray-man has come back around again with seasons 3 and 4. Were picked up by Crunchyroll. Do you hope to get back giving trouble to Todd Haberkorn?
I might already be doing that. I might be. But yes, of course I do. And help to him as well. Yeah. I do. It's both ways on that one. That was an interesting one because I pursued the role of Millennium Earl, and I think Lavi was the compromise that I was given in order to get what I wanted. Yeah. I had to agree to that one to get the one that I wanted. And that was another role that was out of my range. People didn't necessarily expect me to be able to do.
Neither did I.
And I submitted an audition, and they were like, "What?" And then I actually actively went after that part. Anyway.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Now, you have been in the Borderlands series, playing some great characters. What is it like to step into that world?
Man, it's awesome. I am a gamer, but don't typically have a ton of time to play. And, I usually receive a copy of the games that I'm in. But that was the first one that I actually actively tried to play through.
Nice.
I'm not skilled enough to play through, but I had fun playing it.
Yeah.
That was also the one that I decided that maybe my young son could not watch everything that I was in.
Yeah, that one's a little bit of brutal.
It was a little bit violent at the age that he was at the time. It was a little much, but we cut it off at some point. Somebody's head exploded, and I was like, okay, I think we're done doing this as a family. Maybe Nintendo's safer.
Nintendo is safer.
Yeah.
Nintendo's safer. So it says in your bio that you have done some on-screen work for Full Screen / Rooster Teeth doing Day 5. What was that project like?
Man, that was a crazy story. I was nearly blinded on Day 5.
You know what? I think I heard about that from the director.
Doing some fight choreography. As I put it, I was the punching bag for the day, working with a girl who'd never done any fight choreography before. And I personally have had a bunch of fight training. I've done 7.5 years of Krav Maga. I can no longer do that because my left retina was detached after being struck in the head a number of times during a day of shooting. And I had to have a number of laser procedures and an emergency surgery to prevent blindness once I lost half the sight in my left eye. And I'm only just now getting back to doing on-camera stuff again.
Wow.
And can no longer spar, can no longer do Krav. I can still defend myself. I want to make that clear. But it was a bit of a trying experience for me. They had to, the next episode, they cut my arc short, and then the next episode they had to have a body double for me. And that was... I guess that heralded a big life change for me, and I'm still dealing with it, honestly. Still figuring out how to do it.
I'm really sorry to hear about that.
Things happen, and you either live or you don't, and I choose life.
All right. So you're also part of the traveling theater group called the Rude Mechas. How did that come about?
It's Rude Mechs, short for Rude Mechanicals, and that came about many, many years ago because I'm a super old man. I think in 1999, I was approached randomly by the director I ended up working with for many, many years. Her name is Shawn Side. She's a former NYU graduate who makes experimental devised theater with her company, the Rude Mechs. They were doing a play called Lipstick Traces, and they needed somebody to play Johnny Rotten, the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, and they had not been able to find anybody, and I was already known for doing dialect work.
Yeah.
We had a meeting at a bar. And
just like the Sex Pistols would.
And that was kind of my audition. And she said, "Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're hired, but you're gonna have to read for the director." And I read for the part and played Johnny Rotten for 4 years, and have done a number of other projects, toured the world, been all over the place. Have had residencies at Yale. Have had pieces commissioned by Lincoln Center. I've had a pretty full theatrical career as a result of that meeting in that bar.
You kind of look like Johnny Rotten perfectly today, actually, with this outfit.
Thank you so much. He might disagree, but I think he's inclined to disagree about most things.
Alrighty, now
I never met the man. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
They tried. There was a publicity thing where they tried, and he refused.
Alrighty. So are there any upcoming projects you want fans to know about at this time that aren't under NDA?
Yes. Mainly, I'd like people to start watching Dragon Ball Super because my role as Champa, one of the gods of destruction, Beerus' brother, is really starting to ramp up. I've been talking a lot for that recently, and it's a pretty fun voice. And I've had a lot of, I guess they give a lot of ownership in terms of how much comedy you can bring to it, and allow you little bits of improvisation, and make it so that you feel like it's yours as well. And I like working with that team. Chris Sabat and the engineer Raleigh's great too, and Chris is a good friend of mine. So I don't know. It's kind of I feel a bit like I'm coming full circle and coming back to some of the stuff that I started with in this industry, and that's obviously a seminal, iconic title, and hopefully it'll affect all sorts of other things, convention draws, and other stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one.
Samet's a great guy. We've interviewed him. We've talked of all, and Raleigh too. You know,
cool guy.
They're all great.
He's been super sweet with me and a bunch of friends of mine. He's very respectful. If he respects you, it's
because he trusts you.
Indeed, you got it. You got it.
I know.
He's a great collaborator.
He is a great collaborator. So, wrapping things up, where can we find you on the internet? I know it's El Cid at Records on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere else. And
I'm actually deactivated on Facebook. Given my life change, I deactivated my Facebook account. So at this point, it's just at El Cid Records, ELCIDRECORDS on Twitter. That my son's name is El Cid. It's tattooed over my heart.
Nice.
Anyway, that's where you can find me there. That's probably where I'll do the talking. But I'm also on Instagram, and I believe I'm Liebrecht. That's my first initial, my last name.
Yep.
And I post very rarely, but occasionally some kind of cool photos. Anyway, yeah, that's about it.
And final message you want to get to all the wonderful fans that have been keeping up with you and giving you such support over all these years?
I guess I want them to know that I feel lucky and I appreciate it. And without you, this would not be possible. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm a lucky man.
Thank you so much, Jason. This has been wonderful. You just been wonderful. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dude, hug. Hey, get in here. Get in here. One more hug. One more on camera hug. Hugs all around. Yeah.
Beer?
Salud.